Hi guys, and welcome back to this faction discussion video. And today I of course have Tough with me as usual, and we are in your home once more.
Yes.
And this time we're going to talk about the Council Keleres, and I think this is a really exciting faction actually. I like the flavor of having 3 different variants that you can choose from. I think that's a fun addition to the game. But besides that, we will follow the usual formula. So what to accomplish in round 1, what strategy cards to pick in round 1 and possibly during the game. Then we will go through strengths, weaknesses, the heroes and how to win as Council Keleres. And then we will have some general discussions about these flavors, variants that you can choose from, so we can see what the benefits are from each of them.
Yeah.
And weaknesses. Yeah.
I can start, yeah.
Yes.
2 things. Build some more infantry or ground forces, because you only start with 2 infantry, so you lack the ability to take that extra planet system adjacent or wherever. And the second thing is to research a tech, specifically the first racial tech. I think we will get into the tech path also.
Oh yes, we will also talk about what technologies to research.
So get a tech and somehow get some more infantry so you can get that extra planet system in the first round. That will be my main goals for the first round.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's exactly it. Yes. So we're looking at my notes, but there's nothing but the headlines here because I left them at home.
Icing on the cake would be to get the second space dock down.
Yeah.
We will cover it later, but to gain, in my opinion, the most benefit from Keleres, you need at least a second space dock. So if you can get it down in the first round, so get it done. But that's not a
it's not really a priority.
No, but if you have construction or someone else, so put it down. You want to have the second space dock.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But that we will come back to when we talk about the faction technologies. Yeah. Let's move on to strategy cards.
Yeah.
So we will take 1 each.
Yeah.
So with leadership, it is always a good card to get in round 1. But I think for Keleres it can be extra helpful because we want warfare. We want to be able to do the secondary of warfare, so we can get those infantry out that you talked about. So picking leadership could give you an extra or 2 command tokens just to activate a system or stall and do nothing besides waiting for warfare to be played. So I think leadership can be a saver for Keleres in round 1.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
So
nothing more to add there. We have to disagree at some point. Diplomacy.
Yeah. It won't solve the main problem in the first round. So no.
It could maybe be interesting if you play the Mentak variant where you have this 4 resources, 1 influence home system, and you have 1 additional planet. I think that's the only detail I would add to that.
Yeah.
And then yes, you can get some extra resources, but really you don't lack resources in round 1.
No.
So yeah.
Politics.
Politics is always an interesting choice also because you get to choose strategy card as the first one in round 2. So if you want to rush Megaton Rex, then yes, it could be, but no, not. It's not on my top 3 for Keleres at all.
No. Yeah, construction. It could be. It's maybe a 4th pick or something. So, but you want the second space dock down, and it could be as very well be in the first round. So if if warfare is taken and so on, so construction is not a bad pick, I think.
No.
But not a top 3.
Not a top pick either. No. And the same goes for trade, in my opinion. It's usually a good card to get, but I think we already have, if we play the Mintag variation, then we have up to 7 resources available in round 1, so we don't really need trade. I think there are better ones, but of course getting extra resources is also helpful.
Yeah, and by the 7 extra resources, it's because of the agent.
Yes.
Yeah. You in the status phase, you always get your commodities replenished, and Keleros has 2, and you get 1 trade good. And your agent, you can flip it, and then you can use your commodities as trade goods.
Yes.
So yeah, you always have 3 resources for whatever use.
Yeah.
And that's, I totally agree. In the first round, I wouldn't pick trade either. Later on, yeah, maybe because you can you can spend your commodities with your agent before you pop trade. The timing can be difficult in first round. So you get the 3 trade goods and so on, but I don't think it's fully beneficial in first round. No. So
there are just better picks.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, trade unusually is not a top pick for me either in the first round. But yeah, then warfare.
Warfare, yes.
Yeah. Of course, you can't get stalled out, and you can get your extra ground force down, infantry, mix, whatever. So yeah, so warfare is definitely a top pick.
Yeah, warfare needs to be played in round 1. So if nobody else is taking it, you have to take it yourself. I think I would prefer somebody else to take it.
Yeah.
Just with the risk of being stalled out, of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we have technology. And I think, and that's the same as with warfare, you want technology to be played in round 1. So if somebody else takes it, that's fine. Then we can research the faction tech that we want.
Yeah.
And if nobody else picks it, then I'll definitely go for it myself, if warfare is already in play.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit as the 5th person and then hope that the 6th person would pick warfare. Then I think I would prioritize warfare over technology. But now we're getting into the top 3 list, I can see. But for sure, technology is a good pick.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
And it's also after warfare. So if you have equal amount of actions, then you are after warfare, and that could help not getting stalled out.
Yeah.
But yeah, tech is a good pick also in the first round. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And Imperial?
Nope.
No.
Just no.
No.
In a standard 6-player game, not in the first round. But what about strategy cards at top 3?
Do you want to go first, or?
Yeah. My top is leadership, politics, Imperial.
What?
In the later, top 3 in the first round.
Yes.
Sorry. I was looking at my notes for the later. Yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. So,
okay.
At top 3 in the first round, warfare, tech, leadership.
Yeah. I was a little bit on warfare and tech in the order of those 2. I think I think that could vary from game to game.
Yeah. Tech is always played, so we can get on the secondary of that. And I will not risk getting stalled out of warfare. Then you could pay the warfare player to play it, so you won't get stalled out. But yeah, you have the resource to be on secondary tech. So yeah. For me, warfare is the top pick.
Yeah.
And as if we are stalled out of warfare, then nothing to do about it. But leadership is a good card, politics is a good card, construction, trade, tech. So if not warfare, then I think Keleros actually can use a lot of the other cards for good use.
Yes. Yeah, they're very flexible.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
And for later rounds,
In a random order, my top 3 would be leadership, politics, and imperial. I think you could play the speaker game with Caleres. We will come back to it later. I don't think they need that many techs, and tech is often played by someone else, so it's not. I don't think it's crucial for Caleres to gain primary or tech a lot of times, or even sometimes. You have with your second racial tech some benefits around Megatol, so you could be a Megatol race and thereby picking the Imperial card, and leadership is also I think a good card, because you want those command tokens to get the full benefit of your racial techs, in my opinion. So and the second space dog will eventually come down. I think someone else will take construction or else do that. So leadership, politics, do the speaker game, and imperial if you have Megatol. Yeah. That's.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, with objectives and so on, there could be a reason to get some other strategy card, of course. But in general, I think those 3 is the go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we have mentioned those faction technologies.
Yeah.
A little bit. I think we should go into the details of them.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about in which order to get technologies and which ones we prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one is IIHQ modernization, and I think it's a funny name for technology. And I looked what is printed with very small letters. The II is the Imperial Intelligence Headquarters modernization. So very small detail.
If it should have been spelled out. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what the IIHQ is standing for. And that's the first one. It requires 1 yellow technology before you can get it. So maybe we should talk about what starting technologies to go for.
Yeah, and the Tribuni, the faction ability.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Will you?
The Caleres starts with 2 techs, and they can choose 2 techs from whatever the other players are starting with. So when all the other players have chosen their race, then the Caleres can look and see what tech they want to start with. I also think that both racial techs is must-haves, and they are both yellow. So you start with a yellow tech. You just have to pick one of those. And most often there's a race with Sarween, hopefully. So whatever yellow tech there is on the board, take that. I would go for Sarween, but whatever.
Yeah, Scanling is also the good technology, but Sarween is also my top pick. Yeah.
Just pick a yellow.
Yes. Yeah.
And for the second tech, I would go for a blue. And whatever blue. We will cover that in a brief moment. So a yellow and a blue, and then we have to go for the 2 racials. And the first one, IIHQ modernization. It gives you that a planet you can't lose, a legendary planet you can't lose, a 2/3 planet. And you also, if you have Megatol, it gains production 3 and a space cannon of 5. Yeah, and if someone else uses the Imperial card while they hold Megatol Rex and gain a victory point for holding Megatol Rex, then you get 2 command tokens.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not every time someone else pops Imperial, they have to hold Megatol Rex and pop it. So that maybe happens once or twice in a game. Yeah. So 2 or 4 command tokens. So it's not for that you should get it. It's simply a planet you can never lose. So 2 resources or 3 influence, yeah. And with your trade goods and your agent, you in every round have 5 secure resources.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Or the 3 resources and 3 influence to buy a command token.
Yeah.
So it is very similar to hypermetabolism in some kind of way. It's just better because you get a planet, you get the flexibility of using either the influence or the resources, and then you get the benefits from this legendary planet. So yeah.
And you get it in the first round.
Yes, and that's why we really say find a yellow technology, start with whatever yellow technology is out there among the other players.
And the second ratio?
The second ratio, the agency supply network, and that's also a truly powerful one, and that's why we want that second space dock out. So whenever you produce units at one of your space docks, then you can also produce units at the second space dock.
Without activating it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can lock down your units by activating one space dock, and then you can produce on the other one, and they are still able to move out in the same game round, which is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
And Sarween tool applies, the discount applies on the production on both of those space docks. So that's why Sarween is just such a good technology for Keleres.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 4 infantry you can get out for free every round.
So activate your home system, produce a unit or 2, secure your home system even more, and then you use production in your forward space dock, and those units you can fly out immediately, and then you could activate and secure that space dock afterwards.
Yeah, and produce more units at home. That has already been again with Sarween tools. So
So you want the command tokens to produce 2 times, and you want to fly your units out from your forward space dock.
Yeah.
So extremely good tech.
Extremely good. But is it the second one? So first we want the IIHQ modernization.
Yeah.
Is the agency supply network the next technology you would get, or would that be something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it in the second round. Hopefully you have your space dock out also in the second round, so you can start to use it. Then other techs.
Yes.
Then I would go for AI development algorithm, the red tech that gives you a tech discount on unit upgrades. And if you have taken a yellow and a blue, then with AI you have unlocked Cruiser 2, Dreadnought 2, Fighter 2, Carrier 2.
Yeah.
So pick one. I don't think you should take them all, but 2 unit upgrades, Cruiser 2, Carrier 2, then you are at 5 techs.
Yeah.
And maybe a gravity drive. Yeah. But I think Keleres is ready to go with the 2 faction techs, the AI, and some unit upgrades. I don't think they need any more to fulfill their potential.
Yeah, I agree. And help deciding between Cruiser 2 and Dreadnought 2 could be how many resources you have in your slice. So if your economy, Keleres has a pretty good economy in overall, but that could be a deciding factor if you want to go by that unit upgrade or the other one.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, production-wise, when you can produce on both of your space docks twice, then you may also go for Carrier 2, Fighter 2, because you can build a lot.
Oh yeah.
On your forward space dock, only 5 units, but you can do it twice.
Yeah, that can fill a carrier.
So Fighter 2, Carrier 2,
yeah.
That could be you could get it filled. So that could also be an interesting combo.
Yeah. What if, because there are not that many factions that starts with a blue technology. I think there are more that starts with the yellow.
Yeah.
So we could be in a situation where we don't have access to both a blue and a yellow technology. So would we go for green or a red there?
You could, if there's someone who has neural motivator, then you could go for that. it has a bit of synergy with your commander. The commander is after you perform a component action, so an action card with an action text on it, then you can perform an action afterwards. So play plague or something like that, and then you can do a tactical action. But yeah, it's interesting. But oftentimes, I think that when you play an action card as an action, it's also for the stall. I think it's pretty rare that the action card can do something that makes your tactical action more potent. So yeah, if you play in the Silence of Space or something like that, or Flank Speed, it's not a component action. It's an action card you play on your activation. So I don't think there's so many action cards where it's meaningful to have an tactical action right after.
No.
So
yeah, and you don't want to play 3 action cards in a row with component actions on it just to play them, because you want to use them as stalls so you can do your actual move, the powerful move after the other players have passed.
Yeah.
So it's a strange commander.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried actually to look through the technology trees and see would it make sense to go for 2 blues if you had access to that, or 2 greens or 2 yellows and so forth. I still think the yellow and the blue combo is the strongest. I was thinking maybe if you get 2 red, then you can get access to assault cannon early, but no, you want to unlock your faction technologies. It doesn't make sense to go down that route.
No.
And 2 greens could give you access to hyper metabolism, but you get that with your yellow faction technology and all this with the planet, right? So yeah. The variants. We haven't talked much about the variants yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start there.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So you have to choose. Do you want to say?
No.
No.
I want to hear what do you your ranking of the.
Oh yes. Okay.
So you can.
So we have Argent first of all. Then we have Mentak, and then we have X-Char Kingdom. We need to choose between one of those 3 factions. Argent has a 3-planet home system, which is pretty annoying to have. X-Char with 2 planets, and then the very best home system, not just because it only has 1 planet in it, but also because you get 4 resources to play with already in round 1. So, and then we get a unique hero for each of the variants. So we're not using the Argent, Mentak, and X-Char hero, the original ones. There are special Keleres versions of them. And it is here, I think, tough that I may disagree on which one we prefer here. But let's see. With the Argent hero, we get to place our flagship and 2 cruisers and or destroyers in a system. If another player, we need to have control of a planet in that system, and then if another player flies in, then we can pop those 3 units out. Which I really like. I think that's a good one. And with Mentak, we can go through the action card pile and find 3 action cards with component actions on them.
The first 3.
The first 3,
you just go until you have. It's not.
No, it's not pick and choose.
No.
It's the first 3, and then you can be lucky and get some really potent ones, or you can get 3 that are basically stalls and will give you a small benefit, or any combination of that. And the X-Char hero, that's the agenda phase. What is it? 6 extra? No, can you remember?
I have it here. Because I'll do this. Oh, you have it there.
I have it right here.
Yeah, okay.
After an agenda is revealed, so it's an after, you may cast up to 6 additional votes on this agenda. Predict aloud an outcome of this agenda. For each player that votes for another outcome, gain 1 trade code and 1 command token. And since I didn't memorize this, then this is my lowest pick of the 3 variants. Because I think the other players can easily game that. So whenever you decide to play this as an after, unless it's a really important agenda for the rest of the table, then they will just make sure that you gain as little as possible from this hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your...
Well, yeah, home system wise, I like the Mentag variant the most. And yes, I can see the flexibility of the hero, but I actually like the Argent hero more than the Mentag hero. Simply because, yes, you have 3 planets in your home system, but if you if some other player is trying to Kingslay you, you can have your flagship in there already, and with an additional fleet. And then whenever your fleet is destroyed down below your fleet capacity or fleet supply, then you can pop the hero, and then you can get your flagship out and 2 additional cruisers to help you protect your home system once more.
Yeah, it's a start of a round of space combat, so it could be in the 3rd round.
It could be in the 3rd round, yes, exactly. And I think there are a lot of randomness in this game already. So, and with the Mentag hero, you don't know what you get. Of course, you get 3 action cards with actions on them, but you don't know which ones you get. So that's even more randomness. So in that sense, I like the Argent hero a little bit more when it comes to as a deterrent.
Yeah. So what is your... So you can say, I like that system and that hero, but you can't combine it that way. So what is your...
I think it's actually on the game day I would decide between either Mentag or Argent. I don't know, because I really like the Mentag system so much better than the Argent system, but I like the hero from Argent more. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I know what the common common choices that is forget about X-Char and Argent totally.
Okay, is that the common?
That's what I have been researching.
Yeah. Okay, I have not read the common.
You haven't read the common?
I haven't researched that much. In my opinion, I would go for the X-Char.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would take Argent as the last.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's because of the 3 planets, or is it also because of the hero?
Yeah, I don't think it's 12 resources, but I don't think the heroes that much. I don't think that any of the heroes is that good.
No.
It won't secure you at 1 point or 2 pointer like some other heroes has a better hit rate on. So I don't think the heroes is the reason to pick either of them. And the reason I would take X-Char is because they have both resources and influence in the home system, and I like that a lot to score points. Influence points is a lot easier with the X-Char system than with the Mentag. You could say that Argent is a 3/3 and the X-Char is a 3/4. And then you have 3 planets, and I really like I like the X-Char hero. You could at least get something out of it, and those six extra votes could turn the tide in a painful agenda. And I agree with the Mentag. Okay, you get Plague, you get Lost Star Chart, you get whatever. For me it doesn't matter. And and the Argent,
It is situational with the Argent, because you have to control the planet and you have to have another player fly into that system before you can activate it. So
and I don't think the flagship in itself is that it's 2 and a 7, and and the opponent needs to pay 2 influence if you activate your flagship. I wouldn't build the flagship. No. Not for that. It's easy to come around. 2 influence, whatever.
Yeah.
So X-Char would be my top pick.
Yeah, that's fun. I really like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a little situational with the hero there, right? Because many of the agendas are not that interesting. So where people don't really care about the outcome. So you could risk sitting there and say, okay, I gained nothing from the hero. But that could also be the case with Argent, because if that situation ever happens where of course it will happen that you're getting attacked. I don't think you can fly. But
if you're not getting attacked, you're not winning.
Yeah, then you're like, that's true. But maybe during that attack you don't want to pop your hero because it's not important enough at that point during the game. So maybe it's not relevant to have that either. For sure you will gain something from the Minsack hero. At least something.
Yeah.
You just don't know what it is.
No. But yeah.
But I think that leads us into strengths, weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because I think we already covered it a little bit here in this topic. Strengths, I would definitely say, while you're looking at your notes, the Council Patronage faction ability, and that's where you get 2 commodities and a trade good in the beginning of the strategy phase.
Yeah.
And then in combination with your agent, where you can use commodities as if they were trade goods. I think that is one of their biggest strengths as a faction. Just one of them.
Yeah.
Because it gets your economy up and running. You're not dependent on other players to use those commodities, and I think that's super strong.
And combining with the racial techs.
Yeah.
I really think, you mentioned it, the agent, with the Tribuni and the racial techs. Is what makes Killers a pretty strong faction. I think. Yeah. You have five resources. From round 2, you have 5 resources. More than anyone else. And you don't ever lose the Tribuni, and you can never lose Custodia Vigilia, the planet. So you can get smacked down. But you will always have those 5 resources or 6 influence to use every round. So it's a lot more resources than anyone else. A huge strength. And the second racial, fantastic. As said, activate your home system, build 2 ground forces and a destroyer or something like that, defend it, and then you use your main build in your forward space dock, and in the next round you fly it out. So you have a huge flexibility. You don't have to be aggressive every round, but you can build in the front and get it going. Huge flexibility.
Huge, and I think if we go a little bit into the weaknesses, because we've already covered the commander a little bit, and I mean, I wouldn't prioritize unlocking him at all. I would potentially do it when it fitted playing an action card anyways. So you need to play an action card with a component action and pay 1 trade good to unlock him. And I would do it whenever it fits into the game. It's not something I would prioritize to do early on or anything.
And you can't even prioritize it, because you have to get a component action card in your hand.
True. Yeah.
So you can't even say, I want to do it. You could go secondary politics and hope for the action card. So it's
something like
really
that.
out of your hand.
It is, but also for researching a neural motivator, so you get 2 action cards in the status phase.
Exactly.
Spending 4 resources on getting that tech, for instance, I wouldn't prioritize it.
Nope.
But I think that's completely fair, because the faction abilities and those 2 faction technologies are so strong that it's okay. Some of the other components are weaker. Also the heroes, as we talked about. I don't think they are game winning in any way.
No, the heroes?
No. They can't easily score you a point like some other can. No.
Totally agree. The rider, the promisor node, it's not as good as Jalnar's, but I think it's a pretty okay promisor node that could gain you some trade goods. It's a rider, so it's an agenda phase, and if you give it to another player, they can of course not vote. And if they predict correct, they will get a action card and 2 trade goods. Yeah, and maybe you could sell it for a trade good. So if the rider goes through, the other player get the action card and the 2 trade goods, and you could maybe get, no, not maybe. You want the 1 trade good, or maybe 2.
Yeah.
So I think it's sellable, and you could sell it twice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, between each.
Agenda. Both agendas.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So if there's agendas that, doesn't matter, then sell it.
Yeah.
It could net you some trade goods, I think. I think it should be really sellable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely relevant. It's not game changing in any way. So
no. But there are so many other racial promisor nodes that they are too good to sell, or just who wants to pay for it.
Yeah, just forget about it. Yeah.
So I think this is sellable.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah.
It certainly is. So one of their strengths is their economy, because that's really strong.
Yeah.
And on the contrary, you don't have any units that are particularly strong in combat. So of course a unit upgrade helps, and we can get that with the right starting technologies. So I don't know if it's a strength or weakness, but you need to compensate for you don't have any specialized combat at all, so you want more units out.
Yeah.
And that's also why the agency supply network technology is so good. So you can produce on 2 space docks every time.
Yeah. If you as we talked about before there, you could, if you have your forward space dock in a 3 resource system, then it's 5 unit there twice. So potentially 10 units, and even though you have a lot of resources, that could talk into the fighter 2, carrier 2, then you have the ability to spawn a lot of fighters, and you have the resources to do it. I think it's a really strong race, and if you took, in my opinion, the X-Char system, then you have a lot of flexibility in scoring spend objectives. You have both the resource and the influence with that system. I also don't think that control objectives should be a huge problem. You can move out from your second space, the forward space dock, to conquer things, and you have you have a lot of resources to build from. I think you could compensate for the lack of special units by having a lot of units.
That was actually one of my points under how to win.
Yeah.
So maybe we can make a smooth transition to that topic.
Of course.
I think you need to do 3 things, and that is to build up your economy, get your faction techs, and get a shit ton of units out there. I think that's the basic strategy for Keleres to win. So
I really think it's a strong race that can score in a variety of ways.
But I think they are in general also a pretty strong faction when it comes to, if you look at the statistics on how many games they win. I think they are in the top half at least. Without me. I'm not actually investigating that, but I think that's the rumor I heard. Someone on the internet said.
Someone out there have won with Keleres.
Yes.
I'm not sure it's a winning, but they also have the ability to cancel all laws.
Oh yeah.
That's
an ability I always forget, and I also totally forget it during this discussion here.
They can pay 1 influence, and in that round, all laws are out of play for Keleres.
Yes.
And it's not a how to win, but I just want to mention it.
Yeah, it's completely fair.
It's funny, and it could lead to a very surprising move.
Yeah.
Of course it could, because everyone forgets it. And if there's something like the lower alpha and beta wormholes is
they're locked down, or
out of doesn't work or something like that, then they can just whoop, and then they can fly through and make one crazy move. Yeah, so there are some laws there. They can just for this round it doesn't. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
So
but it's so situational, and there are not that many laws. I tried to look through, and I think there may be a handful or something of laws that needs to be in play and has been accepted as a law during the game, and then it's very, very situational.
Yeah.
So
a funny little thing, and if you forget it, I don't think that's the reason why you lost the game.
No.
So it's not a thing that I lost because of this. No. So, but a funny little thing.
I think another interesting. Now we are in the tiny details with the mechs. It says other players must spend 1 influence to commit ground forces to the planet that contains this unit. And as far as I have understood, that means that if you have 4 mechs on the same planet, then you need to pay 4 influence to activate it, because it's singular here. It says this unit.
Yeah.
So of course you can go around it, just as we talked about with the flagship. But still, if you have mechs in your home system, then you can make it harder to invade that home planet if you have mechs on it, because there is no way to go around that rule.
No.
You have to pay an influence or trade good to activate, or land units on the planet.
And a very, very minor detail is that, as I have read it, you can't pay. You pay him one at a time, so you can't use a 4 influence planet to pay for it all.
It has to be 4 individual planets.
4 individual times you're paying. So 4 trade goods. Or else 1 planet and 1 planet, and there are stronger mechs in the game.
That's certainly yes, there certainly are. But
cool.
I think that was it. So thank you, Sotaft, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.